Next week on the show, I will have, we'll only be here 4 days. We're getting preempted on Monday for MLK Day by the Cavaliers. They're playing a 3 o'clock game. First back here at home in about a week. They'll play the Nets at the Romo Fijo. But Tuesday through Friday next week, we'll be live. I'll have tickets for you to see the Monsters on February 26th. Static X is back on the road, despite Wayne Static being dead now for about 8 years. They're back on the road. They're going to play the House of Blues in March. I was a huge Static X fan back in the day. Probably go see this show. And I'll have Tears for Fears tickets for you, too. They're doing that tour with Garbage in the spring. They're going to play Blossom in May. So for people asking about next week, that's what you got here on the program. Cavaliers are in Salt Lake City to play the Jazz tonight. That's a 9 o'clock tip-off. So 8:30 on MMS is when the pregame will begin. Cavs Jazz on the Buzzard. We cut into Jason Carr's nighttime show. He's on a night now.
We worked so hard to get him that show.
Thanks to the efforts of one Bill Squire. He's there now. Snoop Dogg has announced, because why not? He's got his fingers and everything else, that he's launching his own hot dog brand. I wonder what they'll be called.
Hot doggy dogs. Drop it like it's hot dogs.
Snoop smoke meat every day. Snoop Dogs with 2 G's. So he didn't have to. Boy, you could have worked this deal out in an email. Looking to launch his. I can't believe it took this long.
I'm so happy about this because we have wrap snacks for so long, but we never had a rapper dabble in
encased
meats, and that's what I've been looking for.
He has applied at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office for Snoop Dogs. He's going to sell hot dogs and other type of sausage. So he hasn't launched it yet, but he's intending to do so. This sounds to me like he just wanted to lock it down so nobody else could use it.
Yeah.
Smart to do.
It is smart to do. I just can't believe that this was available. Of course, a hot dog brand would just be the latest venture from Snoop. If there's something you want his name on, he'll take a look at it, and then he'll give you his name to use. He started a cannabis company, of course.
That makes sense.
That's the new flex. Everybody's starting a cannabis company because they go, well, I'm already associated with weed. You know, like Seth Rogen has a cannabis company. And Snoop Dogg, if you're already that closely, if you've got that kind of credibility in that space, you're going to be Seth Rogen's going to be a billionaire in about 5 years.
Which is hilarious.
Leafs by Snoop is what his cannabis company's called.
He's trying to work out a deal with Duraflame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snoop Dogs.
Oh, they burn twice as bright and half as long.
And they get you high.
Yep. He's got a liquor line called Indago Gin. He's got a cookbook, of course, with Martha Stewart. But what an amazing career trajectory for Snoop Dogg. Goes from being, just the epitome of gangster rap, just a bad influence in every direction, to hoes and bitches and whatever, and then over the course, he's...
Without ever really changing who he is.
No,
That's my point.
I like his animal documentaries when he does the voiceovers for animal. Those are so
Never
funny.
really changed who... If he went back to like his earliest musical roots tomorrow, nobody would blink an eye. I know
great.
The culture's changed a lot too. You can't shock people anymore, but
yeah, he still has the cred, and he's worth $150 million. And
that seems low.
And it does seem low, but when I think about that, I'm thinking about like Snoop just can't be Snoop Dogg. He also has to be like a businessman, or is it all the people that he works with are terribly afraid of him because they don't want to cross Snoop Dogg? Because they deal with people who screw them over, and agents, don't work always on the client's behalf. So I just think about how many people did he have to like rough up to make sure
I don't
he
think
got
so.
his money?
I think part of Snoop's hook was that he was never the guy roughing people up, because he was coming up with
Ice Cube even had to rough people
but
up.
they were coming up with people who kind of were. So there was Suge Knight, there was Dre, there was all Snoop, for all of the material he did and all the groups he ran with. Man, he never got thrown in jail.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's what
like-
I'm saying. Like, he was never anyone's enforcer. He was just there like, I'm putting out music,
never
I'm
got
doing
caught
my
with
thing.
weed, never got caught with coke.
Well,
He was-
we don't know that he didn't. He just
never
never
got
got prosecuted for it.
He never got Me Too'd.
I feel like he's the parent who would be like, I'm just disappointed in you. And it made you feel worse. So people didn't want to upset Snoop. So nobody crossed him because
That's what I'm
he's such a
saying.
good guy. Like, I'm not gonna screw him
But
over,
how did he
you
get to
know?
that point? Because that's
'Cause
what
he's chill.
People always talk about how Hollywood is racist and they always fighting for the black man. Nobody comes after Snoop. Why is that? Why does he have like
Because he's chill.
Snoop-lomatic immunity?
Say that again? Snoop-lomatic immunity?
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, because I mean,
Well, because I think he's just made so many friends over the years, and he's worked with so many different kinds of people that I think he's kept his brand pretty much on target.
He's
I mean,
never-
Ice Cube was making all those awful movies where he's driving his kids over the cliff or whatever those things
Are we there yet?
And
driving him
I
over
don't think
the
that's the point, but sure, yeah.
well, we saw one in Spanish on a bus in Tulum, so I assumed that maybe the second one was about them doing that. But yeah. But Snoop, I remember a couple of years ago, he was on some late night show, and he was like, "I'm never eating hot dogs. I saw how those were made, and those were gross." And now he's going to be here. He
selling
is.
them. He doesn't have to eat them to sell them.
I think he was able to kind of shift his public perception when he started, like when his son was younger. And I think his son is in pro football now or college football or
I
something.
think college football.
But when his son was very little and Snoop was posting photos of him coaching his kid's Pee-wee team, that went a long way with people's perceptions of Snoop shifting.
Well, I think
Because they were like, oh, this guy's a dad and
Didn't
a
he
husband.
have a show
and-
about that? About his life?
I think he did. At some point, he had like
What
a
was it
reality.
called?
Daddy Dad.
No,
I don't know.
Corey, it was
No, there was a show about
Snoop's
him
life, or so, it was
coaching his kid's team, I think was what the show was.
no, it like followed around his family. I thought.
I think you're talking about Run's house.
No, I know Run's house. I knew that one.
He also filed a similar trademark a few years
Snoop
ago.
Dogg's fatherhood.
Fatherhood.
Yeah,
okay.
I was like, I knew that it was on.
So what he does is, and this is why they're like, maybe the hot dog thing won't ever get off the ground. It's like 10 years ago, he filed a trademark for Snoop Scoops. He was going to release some ice cream, and then that didn't actually happen. But if anybody ever wanted to do that, then again, why would somebody else use his name? You know what I mean? I mean, you could license it.
Yeah,
Snoopy?
you're gonna get sued.
Maybe they are big fans of Snoopy. I don't know.
From Peanuts?
Yeah, no, the other Snoopy,
But why would they use Snoop Dogg for Snoopy?
because he's a dog who is Snoopy,
But they're
and they
two
can't.
distinct intellectual properties.
But they can't get a hold of either, so it makes them together. SNOOP, not Snoopy. Dog. DAWG.
What?
Snoop Dogg scoops.
Snoopy Dogg, Scoop Dog hot dogs.
What are you talking about?
What?
Snoop Dogg Scoop Hut.
This is $1,000.
This isn't confusing at all. Oh, that's a good idea.
The Buzzard wants you to go fund yourself and score $1,000. Enter the nationwide keyword family at WMMS.com. That's family. Enter it now at WMMS.com. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
Poundcake, are you ready for the sports break? Enough with the Snoopy, Scoopy, Snoop Dogg stuff.
It's the DOGG.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
Play ball! This is a Poundcake Sports Break!
In the headlines today, if you're into supercross, boobies, and catfights, boy, do I have a story for you. Fans got into an all-out brawl at a supercross race over some drunk bitch flashing her sand dunes to everyone. One woman who witnessed the incident said, "Hey, there's kids here," and then poured a drink on the lady. Naturally, a catfight ensued. Then the girl's entire section jumped in, all to shield the glory of a beautiful pair of tatas from the innocent eyes of children. I'm sure those little bastards will have a hit on Storytime on the Rug. Also, you want to talk about taking one for the team. Tom Brady just continues to show his GOAT-like qualities. Tom refused to come out of the locker room during Sunday's game against the Panthers because he wanted to make sure his good friend Rob Gronkowski got the stats he needed to trigger $1 million in bonuses per Grunk's contract. I hope Grunk knows how to thank Tom accordingly, meaning that Grunk truck won't stay a tight end for long. Lastly, the Titans player, Bud Dupree, got into an altercation with the man at Walgreens. No word yet on what prompted the incident, but Dupree was seen on video wrestling a man to the ground. The cops caught up to Dupree and charged him with the misdemeanor assault, because it was pretty mean, mister. And not very wise either. You shouldn't assault anyone, but especially not places where, they go to develop film. Use your head, dude. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this Poundcake Sports Break.
Play ball! This is a Poundcake Sports Break!
I want to tell Poundcake that Snoop Dogg was in part of a murder trial. Hence the song Murder Was the Case That They Gave Me. Got dropped, but again, Snoop never did any time.
Can we forever call him Grunk?
Everyone calls him Grunk.
Gronk is what they call him. Gronkowski. So Gronk. Gronk.
I like Grunk.
Gronk.
Well, it reminds me of
Grunk Smash.
It reminds me of Grunk from Emperor's New Groove. So that's why
That's Kronk.
He doesn't know who he's talking about.
I thought it was Grunk.
No.
But you saw the name Gronkowski.
Yeah, I thought they just called him Grunk.
You thought they called him Grunk, even though his name was Gronkowski.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like
listen.
Grunk's tight end.
Grunk's tight end.
Grunk's loose end, I think it's what he
Loose end. Yeah. Grunk.
My sister texted me. So I went to college at University of Toledo, and I don't know if you guys know who Bruce Gradkowski is.
He's a buddy of mine.
For you!
So Bruce Gradkowski
He's from
he went to Toledo. So he was the quarterback there. He played for the Bengals, I think is where he started for a little
He played
while.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Steelers. He was
He's
here.
been
around for a
everywhere.
bit,
Yeah. So he was a regular at the bar I worked at, and we all knew him and stuff. And the one night I took him home. We were partying in college, super drunk, whatever. He ended up throwing up outside my car. This is years ago. I haven't thought about this in forever. My sister texted me the other day and goes, "Hey, didn't Gronkowski throw up in your car?" And I was like, "No, you are thinking of absolutely the wrong
That was Brucey,
person."
not Rob.
I know. It's like Rob Gronkowski was never in my car. I don't know what you think he's doing in Toledo.
Didn't he go to
Ohio.
the University of Toledo?
in 2011? Mind you.
Well, it's hard to keep people straight.
Yeah.
You know?
That was around the time I think he was in college, though.
Gronk?
Gronk, yeah.
Oh, was he? I didn't know how old he was.
He's been in the league for like 10 years.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Bruce is like pushing 40. So
He's older. Yeah, he's older than me.
Yeah.
But like the all the bartenders were older than me, and they knew him. They had like graduated college with him. Mm-hmm. He was like Toledo's like homeboy. Like, oh, he went to school here. He got drafted into the NFL.
Bruce Gradkowski's 38.
Yeah, nice
and
dude.
he played.
Very nice.
He's
dude.
great. He played for everybody though. But coming out of college, he was going to be like a big
Oh,
deal.
yeah.
They had a
It
lot
was
of hopes
huge.
pinned on his back. Yeah. And didn't work out that way. I was reading about the NFL. Lay's potato chips is doing this huge campaign called Lay's Golden Grounds. Have you seen any of these commercials for this?
No.
So
I love
dumb.
chips.
Lay's potato chips they took some dirt from NFL team fields, and then they're mixing it in with where they grow their potatoes, so you can have chips that were made with your team's dirt.
That seems...
They're running out of ideas.
Yeah, this one is falling a little flat.
This is one of those things where they go, and the commercial shows them with like a bobcat and digging up the middle of the field, like that's what they're doing. They got a guy out there with a trowel probably with a couple of grains of dirt. They throw it in a huge field. All right, we mixed them up.
He's aggravated too. He's like, man, I gotta drive to friggin' South Dakota to get this dirt.
Yeah.
To get what team's dirt?
I thought it was for the players.
No,
just the teams.
just the teams.
I thought it was
no
like
South,
you go to
I thought you meant they were growing
Brady's
potatoes in
hometown.
South. Oh no.
No, I thought it was like the players' hometown.
No, like they're digging dirt, a cubic foot out of the middle of First Energy Stadium
Yeah.
whatever. I assume that was all turf anyway. Is that dirt out there?
There's still teams that have dirt, but or like
Do we?
turf. Yeah, Browns do.
There's dirt under there.
Yeah, there's dirt.
Lays took soil from the home grounds of the
First of all, they should
Soul.
not. They should not
Soul.
have. Jerry Rice is from the middle of Nowheresville, Mississippi. They should not have him doing this commercial. But People like Jerry Rice. He's a legend.
He is a legend.
Yep. But holy cow.
Took soil from the home grounds of the NFL teams across America and under the careful watch of their farmers mixed it into separate parts of an actual potato field to create chips infused with the grounds of each NFL team. It's called Golden Grounds, the Lay's chips you love, grown in the glory of the teams you adore.
Man, he is from the deep South. That's why he and Barkley sound exactly alike, because Jerry's from Mississippi and Barkley's from Alabama. It's that like deep South syrupy drawl, yeah. So, yeah, they're going to be rolling these out where they're like, oh, we grew these potatoes in the dirt from your stadium. Now, I don't know if they're doing it for every team. They might be looking at like, what are the top potato chip eating fan bases, but I know they're doing them for the Chiefs and the Cowboys and the Packers. And they do this whole big show of them digging up huge amounts of dirt and whatever. Now, you have to win these. I don't think they're going to put them out on the shelves.
What a prize.
And you have to win a bag of these limited edition chips.
What's the salt level, though?
Yeah.
I don't know. Minimally salted? I don't know. And for the first time in 17 years, by the way, and this is not by coincidence, first time in 17 years, there will be a Lay's potato chip commercial in the Super Bowl. Did anyone notice that
America is back!
What food shortages? Did anyone notice that Lay's was missing for almost 2 decades from the Super Bowl commercial roster?
That's why my dad hasn't watched the Super Bowl in so long, because he's like, if Lay's isn't involved in the commercials, I ain't watching.
That's right. I'm not a Doritos guy. I'm a Lay's chip guy.
He's like, I'm not much into ethnic food, so I'm not going to be having those corn chips. We eat potato chips.
That's right. I don't want tortilla. I don't want corn. Yeah. We went to a place over the weekend, and I won't name drop them because the food was good. I was just confused by their menu. And it was a taco place. And the menu said 100% flour tortillas, which is what most places do.
Yeah.
Please specifically ask for corn tortillas if you want them. Those are traditionally hard shell, correct? So I asked the waitress, I go, could I just get that in corn? And she goes, they're all flour. And I go, well, it says right here. I just did what your menu told me to do. Not a huge deal, right? It's totally fine. I was just very confused by that.
Was she confused?
She seemed confused, yes,
like
by my request.
If she was new and maybe didn't know that there was a corn tortilla option?
I pointed to it.
I don't know.
And she kind of stared at me, and I was like, that's totally fine.
So her
response was, no, I said there's only flour.
Well, I said what I said.
Yeah.
Well, she's masked.
Yeah.
So it's not like I could get, a vibe off of her, but I just thought that was very strange.
There's
a
corn shortage.
I go, oh, that sounds good. But these are, a lot of these places too, the menus, they're just on paper. Yeah. So they probably print them up every day. You know what I mean?
You can name drop Taco Bell, Ellen. It's okay.
I prefer
I would name drop Taco Bell. If it's, those Taco Bell waitresses who come up to you.
I prefer a flour tortilla over a corn tortilla.
Me too.
I like a little mix of both. Like when we make tacos at home, I make them with corn tortillas. I make hard shell tacos.
I do not like hard shell tacos unless it is wrapped in a soft shell.
That's okay too.
When you put either cheese or guac or queso or something in between them,
that's fine. To bind the worlds together.
Yes,
that's fine.
That I enjoy.
But I'm not opposed at all to a hard corn tortilla.
But crunchy tacos are so messy. Like tacos are a messy food to begin with.
If you don't know how to eat,
when you bite it, it crumbles.
It can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why you have to warm them a little bit. You still warm your corn tortillas.
A crunchy.
Yeah. That's what I do. I put them in the oven for a little bit.
Soft corn tortillas.
Yeah, but I prefer if I'm going to have corn.
Yeah.
Soft corn tortillas are pretty bad.
I agree.
They're just dry. And
I agree.
What am I doing?
Yeah. So I have I don't even know that I have a preference between the two, but it just sounded good.
Yeah.
And based on the taco that I was ordering, it had a lot of stuff in it. So I'm like, let's give it more of a base here.
Yeah.
Because obviously the one thing, all these taco places are putting tons of stuff in the tacos. But then they're flour tortillas. So you want to talk about falling apart as soon as you touch them.
Right.
So I was like, anyway, who cares, right? Doesn't matter. But she gave me a look.
dare you.
She shot me a look. I've got to take a break. If you want to text for anything, 35192. AlanCoxShow.com for all the other stuff, and listen anywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
The Alan Cox Show.
On 100.